All right, so here we're going to talk about factoring out the GCF, also known as the greatest common factor. All right, so if we take a look at number 1, we have 9x to the 5th minus 27x cubed. So we want to look at each of these terms individually and say, well, what can I pull out of each of those terms? So let's first look at just the numbers. We have a 9 and we have a 27. We want to say, what's the biggest number that divides evenly into both of them? So 9 is. So we'll pull out a 9 out of each of those terms. So now if we look at our variables, we have x to the 5th and x to the 3rd. So x to the 5th just means you have 5 x's being multiplied together. X cubed means we have 3 x's being multiplied together. So you want to pull out as many as you can, and you have to pull the same amount out of both terms. So the most that you'd be able to pull out of both of these two terms would be x to the 3rd. Okay, we can't pull out more than that because this term right here doesn't have more than that. So we'll pull out an x to the 3rd. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to open up a parenthesis, and in the parenthesis, we're going to write what we're left with once we've pulled out that 9x cubed. So we had a 9, and we pulled it out. We had 5 x's being multiplied together, and we pulled out 3 of those x's, so that's going to leave us with 2 x's being multiplied together, so we'll write that as x squared. Technically, what you're doing is you're just dividing. 9 divided by 9 is 1. If you want to put a 1 in here, you can. And x to the 5th divided by x cubed, remember when you're dividing, you subtract these exponents, gives you 2. Okay, so let's take the subtraction sign and bring it down, and let's just think about dividing now. 27 divided by 9 is 3, and x cubed divided by itself, anything divided by itself is just 1. Or you could think about it as we had x cubed and we took it out, so there's nothing left there, so we can close this up. This right here is factored for us. Okay, so now that we have the process down, let's just jump right into the next one, which actually we're going to skip to number 4. So if we look at our numbers, we have a 12, an 18, and a 6. So you want to say, well, what's the biggest number that divides evenly into all those? 6. All right, so now if we look at our variables, let's look at them one at a time. We have an m to the 5th, an m squared, and an m to the 1st. You're really just looking at whichever one has the smallest exponent, because that's, the most you'll be able to take out of that term, which m to the 1st has our smallest exponent, so we'll take out an m. If we look at our n's, we have n cubed, n to the 4th, and n to the 1st. Again, n will be the most that we can take out. All right, so then in our parentheses, let's write what we're left with. 12 divided by 6 is 2. We had m to the 5th, and we took one of those out, so that leaves us with m to the 4th. We had n cubed, and we took one out, so that leaves us with n squared. Again, if you want to think about it as division, right, you just subtract the exponents. 5 minus 1 is 4, and 3 minus 1 is 2. All right, now let's bring down our addition sign. And 18 divided by 6 is 3. M squared divided by m is m. N to the 4th divided by n is n cubed. And now we're going to bring down our subtraction sign. Now, if you look here, 6m divided by itself is just 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. And you do have to put this 1 here, because if you start off with 3 terms, once you factor out the greatest common factor, in parentheses, you also have to be left with 3 terms. Just a quick side note, if you wanted to check these, they're very easy to check. You could just take what you factored out and distribute it into the parentheses and see if you're left with the original expression.